What's up, Rockstars? Today is a huge news video today. I actually had to trim it back. I pulled it back. There was too much. Stay tuned for November's video for a whole bunch of more announcements and stuff like that. But I got plenty here, some new stuff to show you, some exclusives to tell you about. Let's get started. Now, as always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that this channel is possible. If you appreciate everything I do, because these videos are for you guys and you can, there's a link down below. Even $1 a month helps out greatly. It may be a little bit to you, but it's a lot to me. It adds up. Thank you so much. I'd also like to welcome two new members, Bernardo Repe Dio and Thomas Markitis. I apologize if I said that wrong, but thank you so much for joining. I am happy you guys are here. And also, a huge shout out to INTOTHEAM for sponsoring this specific video. As you can see, they got new shirts. I had to get some. This is freaking awesome. You guys know I love the fit. I love how it feels. I don't get anything for peddling crap to you guys. This is fantastic stuff. Love their shirts, their designs, the quality, the price. It's all good. There is a link down below with an exclusive 10% off that you can also get with my code down below. Go ahead and do that. They also have some sales going on right now. It's a good time to shop around, whether it's plain t-shirts, whether it's this, whether it's their new hats. I'm not wearing one because I want them to look good and I won't look good in them. I'll have my son wear one in a future video. He looks good in hats. I don't know where he got it from. Wasn't me. Either way, fantastic stuff. As you can see, just real quick, before we dive into all this, new designs, and they got a ton of new stuff too. They always do like the space stuff and all that kind of stuff. They got a castle in space, kind of reminds me of Kingdom Hearts a little bit. They got like chick skeleton, transparent space stuff going on. They got freaking ninjas. I asked for this one. I hope to show this one off to you guys soon. This is a stellar one. This is Internal Guardian T. This is actually through him. He's helping design this stuff, and he did a great job thinking of this. So did their artist to bring this to life. A fantastic zombie warrior shirt going on there. Skeleton guy with big old beard. Love it. That's a killer shirt. It's just, there's so much good stuff. We got wolves. You guys know I love wolves. Here's what I'm wearing right now. Great stuff. Check them out in the link below. Now, let's get into some board games because there is a ton. You might want to strap in. There's going to be a lot of timestamps down below. Feel free to use those if you want, but my goodness, there's a lot. I'm going to try and go fairly quickly, but you guys know me. I'll tell you what you need to know. So, ThreeTale is actually funded. As you see, they did fund. I know they kind of relaunched and now they have this one. They got 13 stretch goals unlocked that they've been doing. It is that €50 kind of thing, and you get the standees here, as you can see. So then they have the 71 where you get the minis. In my opinion, may as well go for the minis. It's actually not that much different. And so, I mean, it may as well, right? It looks interesting. Again, the gameplay didn't wow me from what they showed, which is unfortunate because I think the world and the design and the style is really, really cool. So I really, really dig it. It's also very busy on Kickstarter, on GameFound right now. It was before, it is now. This entire end of the year is going to be rough, guys. So I apologize to your wallets. I apologize to your bank accounts now. You may as well say your piece to them because they're going to be dead. A little X's on their eyes and in the account balance. If you're anything like me, it's going to be bad. Okay. That being said, 33 hours left to go. There are links down below to everything here. So check in the description. You can either do it while I'm talking or you do it after the end. Control F. Find it that way. There's going to be a big old long list. It's not going to be in alphabetical order. It might be kind of in the order I did things in. I don't know. There's going to be a lot. And if you see something I didn't catch, like if you're like, oh, this is really cool, this is coming up, or this is there, tell me in the comments. Tell everybody in the comments so we all know. I can add it to the list. Moving on, we have Mythwind. This one is actually done a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It kind of seemed to have a little bit of a slower start to me, but 718,000. They did very, very well for themselves. Again, the art is great. The theme is great. It looks just beautiful. I just recently saw a game that was pretty much just black with white lines. And I appreciate the abstractness of that. And I get it, right? And as a fan of Tron, I kind of get it too. But I mean, these are physical products and they gotta look good on the table. I want it to where if I set this up in a game store, that people are going to come up and be like, what the heck are you playing? This looks fantastic. And this looks really, really good. I love this little image that you get to unlock here. The miniatures actually look quite nicely made. Like I really appreciate the design of them. I think they look great. I don't know how they'll end up. That being said, 63 millimeter lets me think that it'll retain a lot of that detail, hopefully, in which case these are going to be quite nice. There's a good variety of them. Again, the board is beautiful. You get these like wooden tokens that actually look quite nice. I like the coloration of them. And then wooden dice as well. So the feel of this game is going to be something else. I really think so. The same with the tiles, right? They're not cards or tiles. It's just gonna feel real nice. I think it will. Well, it's not necessarily my type of game. I know for a lot of people it is, and I think they're quite excited about it. And he looks so sad. 84 millimeters. These things are huge. These are big minis. These are not small, like at all. 52 is like the smallest. So yeah, quite large. And I think they'd be really fun to paint as well. So, be interested almost just for that. But there's a lot more going on there. Again, feel free to go ahead and check it out. Next up, we have Beast. Beast is at 343,000. I would be backing this, except for one thing. I'll tell you why. So it's a 1 versus mini, where essentially it reminds me of the video game Evolve, if you remember that from a little bit ago, a couple years ago, I guess. It was kind of short-lived, but so are most video games these days. Essentially, like one person is like this big bad guy or whatever, and then you have like the monster, the beast, and then you have the other people hunting it, right? And very cool idea, very smart, and beautiful art. Look at the art on here. This looks so freaking good. The art is stellar in this game. It is fantastic. I love it. I love the style of it. I love all of that. It looks great. My one issue, and you're gonna laugh when I say it, okay? So you can go in and guess what it is now, but if you haven't guessed, you're gonna be like, oh, of course. I don't like the meeples. Now, hear me out. I'm not actually against meeples per se. I feel standees do pretty much a better job in most all situations than meeples, in my opinion, because you can have art on them. Because one of the problems is, in this game, there is beautiful art everywhere, on the board, on the map, on the cards, on the standees. And then you have this bright pink pig-looking kind of thing that doesn't match any of it. And it's almost a shame that this beautiful art isn't used. It really is. Now, they actually unlocked painted meeples, and painted meeples are pretty close to standees sometimes. So they unlocked the painted meeples in the stretch goal. By the way, they even included meeples in the little cities here, which again, just to me, it stands out. It's like, why is that there? It's like this beautiful art style, and then randomly this bright red meeple. I don't know why they decided to do that. It's the only thing in the game that looks like that. Nothing else in this game. It's like suddenly getting like material design and you're like, a sleek UI thing or something like that, or like, I don't know. So here's the painted meeples that they unlocked, which again is just a stylized outlining of it. And it's unfortunate because there's this game here, Bardwood Grove, okay, where, again, not necessarily my type of game here, though this is available. 20 days left to go, by the way. It's already doing really well, already over 100,000. But look at the meeples. See the painting they did on this? That would have been so much better. Put a black border on that and paint it this style. And can you imagine how good these would look? But instead we get these kind of like abstract, outlined cave drawings. I don't know. It's so weird to me that they would do that. I don't understand that because it looks so good otherwise. I don't know. It beats me why you wouldn't pick art like this on there. I really don't know because it does look good. But it's literally like the first thing I see. It just pops straight out bright. Like this doesn't fit. This looks like a cloud. I guess it's kind of a sheep. That's the whole problem is like meeples are very abstract and you have these very beautiful pictures. But if you paint something on it, then it's all abstract anymore and it looks great and it matches the rest of the art. So anyway, my feedback to Studio Midhall, not that they care, but I think a consistent art style would fit this better because you have a great art style and a very cool concept in a game that I think is really, really smartly done. I really think it is. And what's the price on it? What's the price on? Where are we at? $60 for a core pledge. right? $86 is the all-in. It's cheap. Standees help with that price. That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't understand why there's random bright pink pigs in it. I really don't. Anyway. Okay, so we went ahead and we kind of showed this off. Again, I think the art style here is very cool. Not my kind, but it is very cool. I will say that, like, some of these are, like, this is pretty spot on, right? Pretty spot on. And then, like, this one is really different. You see his face is, like, really changes. Her face really changes. I didn't know what that was. I was looking at that. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, but, you know, whatever. Very kind of cartoony, but very detailed as well. Lots of, again, wooden stuff, wooden boats, wooden trackers. Wooden runes, wooden badges, all that stuff, and then some plastic gems, which the gems look really nice, by the way. Again, I'm sure it's great to play, and it's very cool. You get to do bards. I think bards are super neat. Metal coins, like you get all sorts of stuff here. Definitely looks a unique style and a unique feel to it. Not my cup of tea. Moving on, we have the Stuff of Legend. There is only 6 days left of this. This is based off the graphic novel IP. It is kind of like a kind of a hidden trader system a little bit where sometimes some of your friends will actually be in league with the boogeyman, but that can change in the game, which I think is kind of cool. So just because you started out that way doesn't mean you'll end up that way. Just because you started out on their team doesn't mean you won't change sides. I really like that it leads itself to, I think, more thematic storytelling, where it's like, oh, I was your best friend, but then you betrayed us. You know, you get that like meta kind of feel to it and all that. I think that's super cool. It's got crackers and gesture. Like, it looks like it's got a lot of style, for sure. So I really dig that. It's like a little bit of a more mature Stuffed Fables, which I loved Stuffed Fables. So I think that's really neat. The art style is great. Of course, I'm sure it's probably based on the graphic novel, would be my assumption here. But not necessarily, again, my type of game. Just isn't. But it does have some really cool looking kind of minis here. A lot of repeats, of course, but that's fine too. And then lots of standees and stuff like that as well. But yeah, this is kind of an adventure game where you're trying to help the boy and the boogeyman's after you, and you can't necessarily trust your friends. Moving on, Rock, Paper, Scissors, the Joke campaign. 27 days ago, raised 7,000. They're wanting 13,000. This is by the Dragons Tomb, which is a YouTube channel, and this is here to advertise his YouTube channel. I'm here advertising his YouTube channel. It's actually really funny. He essentially does how to play board games, but he does them wrong. So he like doesn't tell you how to play. He tells you how to play incorrectly in a very funny way. It's very, it's an original idea that he's done. I think it's really cool, that he's doing it. I think it's funny. I don't know how I feel about fake campaigns. He's selling rock, paper, scissors. So you get a rock, paper, and some scissors. In my opinion, if I was to give him one, not that he asked or cares, I would lower the 13,000 because it's not like he actually has to do this junk very well. And Kickstarter's an all or nothing thing. And then you can start getting stretch goals. Like, you haven't even added Spock into this yet. So, like, you really need to, like there's no lizards, there's no nothing. Like, you need to get in those stretch goals, those sweet, sweet stretch goals, and really fill this box with a lot of value for sure. It's funny that, like, Watch It Played kind of helped him out here. And same with David here. And there's a lot of, like, quotes from people that is really, really great. I'm assuming they actually are okay. Like, I'm assuming Jeremy Howard's in on this. That's awesome. That's funny. I dig it. This whole thing made me smile. You can also get the offensive adult party game, which had me cracking up. I think that's hilarious. Here it is. It's one, let's see if he explains it. I think he does. Maybe he does in the other one. Essentially, it's one, black card that just says, I like to play adult-themed card games, and then 19 copies of the same white card that says, because I like to pretend I have a sense of humor, or something like that. Really funny. Really dig it. Again, the guy's really funny, and I have no idea what the heck's going on with half this stuff. I guess you can get a shirt as well and stuff like that. Look, guys, if you want to support his channel, go ahead and follow the link down here. I'll also link to his YouTube channel as well, so that'll be down there. Go ahead, you'll get some laughs. It's funny. It's good stuff. Moving on to real things, magical friends and how to summon them. This one is not quite funded yet, but it is close. 21 days ago to make that extra about 8,000-ish and some change bucks. I think they can definitely do that. I thought this one looked really cool, but I tend to pick the underdog in half these things anyway. It's a very neat idea, essentially. I mean, look at I love the 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 like it looks to me like it's a mermaid being drugged through on a chariot from a sea turtle on land, which I think is hilarious. It just looks like fun. I like the art style, and you get to essentially summon all these different guys, and it has like these really cool, like just everything about this looks different. Like I really did. Look at the standees with the numbers here. I dig that. I love it. I think that's awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff here. So excited for them to fund and really start going on the game and all the stretch goals and as good as it can get. And again, it's a first time creator as well, so they definitely need the Kickstarter stuff. I saw they got the projects we love too, which is super cool as well. Moving on, we have Tales from the Red Dragon Inn. I covered this in the last one. This actually looks like a pretty good game. It looks like it has a lot of humor to it. I actually love the Red Dragon Inn, the traditional board game, card game, party game thing that you have. It's really a betting system, but really, really fun times playing that game. So it's really cool that they built like a legit dungeon crawler. You got the minis, you got this cool map thing, and each one's different. So not all the maps look like this, by the way. With the enemies here and the grid here and all that, which looked really cool. And then they have like all the items and pretty much anything you could want. Like here's another one where they're in like a tavern brawl, but the looks of it. And you play your card and you move and you attack and you do your skills and all that kind of stuff. Looks like it plays smoothly. It looks really cool in my opinion. So I think it's really cool. There's the Red Dragon Inn that they're actually furthering the IP. Delving into it and having a good time doing it. It reminds me a lot of Adventure Quest, if you recall those games. They're like Flash-based browser games. Pretty darn cool. Next up, Taverns and Dragons by Lord Raccoon Games. This hadn't launched in my last video. Now it has launched. 20,000. It's very close to being funded. 19 days left still. It looks like it has a lot of great quality stuff. They are counting this as like a gateway game. And so it's probably a little bit lighter than I would take it. I have my whole family games. I have no need really for many gateway games. And like my gateway game was Zombicide. Okay. So like if I had played this, I probably wouldn't have gone into board games. Zombicide, I was like, oh my gosh, look, I got chainsaws. Like it was awesome. So, it depends on the person you're trying to get in when it comes to gateway. But if this looks like it'd be nice for somebody who maybe a spouse that doesn't game super often or only likes the lighter games or something like that, this might be a very good pick. It's got very bright and colorful art. It looks like it has beautiful tokens and dice and cards, and it looks very pleasing, looks very nice. It looks like it probably plays quite well too. And they're already kind of teasing some of the stretch goals that you'll get, including some backer choice stuff, which I think is also very cool. Always nice to include people. So, getting linked down to this as well. And I wish them luck. Staying in GameFound, we have Goldenstar, the Galactic Tournament. This is struggling to fund. It's 33% funded, 14 days left. Definitely kind of a slow start. And this is the second time they've tried to launch this. In my opinion, I think the minis look cool. I think the idea is neat. I've always, since looking at this, worried. I get hung up on the 4 cards. So you go down here and you get your asymmetrically 2 unique challengers, right? And the unique challengers, then you prove with the deck builder from the black market, which is cool. But it seems like it leans too much in the everybody gets to deal from the black market and less on the unique, because it looks like you only get, I think, 4 cards per hero. And that's always kind of bothered me. Yeah, so this is your unique cards. Everything else is, you build it from the same pool as I guess everybody else, from what I can tell. Which is a little unfortunate. It doesn't mean this doesn't make a big deal about it, but I've played other card games where you just have a few things that make you unique. Like, I felt that way even about, like, Nemesis. Like, most of us had the same cards, except I had, like, just a couple cards that were different, and I felt that wasn't different enough. Same thing here. I worry that 4 cards in my entire deck doesn't make me too much different than the other people. So that's kind of, I think, my issue, because it looks like, 40 black market cards, 52 power-up cards. So they got a lot of different upgrades and build paths, stuff like that. It sounds like a cool deck builder, but maybe not necessarily the most unique thing ever. And so I think that's kind of my issue with that. I don't know what other people's issue is with it. For me, that's it. Gameplay all in of $83 isn't that bad. Like, it's pretty cheap. It's just, I don't know. It's not something I'm willing to take a risk on, per se. There's a lot of other stuff asking for my money right now, and I'll go towards that stuff. That being said, the cards and the art style, I really dig. Next up, we have Lost Empires. I have not covered this before. This has 4 days left to go. So again, link down below. That's close to 48 hours. This has some really cool theming around it. It's a card game that you like build your deck here. That's kind of what they're showing here. And then you can actually like play against each other in kind of a skirmish card game. So you have a mat, right? But you're actually playing cards. And so you'll look... and there's like these locations or these buildings and you're playing cards onto them from the looks of it. So you have like these objectives cards and whatnot. There's a GIF here I wanted to show you that kind of shows that. Yeah, as you can see, you have these different locations. This is one of my problems with this, by the way. GIFs are really cool, but you can't rely on just GIFs. I want the actual text too, because the problem is if I want to see this, it's gone. I can't see that anymore. What was that saying again? Okay, and then I have to read, okay, so now I get to see this. Utilize command tokens to deploy and activate your units. Okay, so you have kind of this limited token availability. That's how you activate your people. Kind of reminds me of Hate, the skirmish game where you have your little tokens you use to activate your units, right? Same kind of thing here. Sounds pretty cool, but it's all card based, which is pretty neat. I think that's neat. I think that's interesting. You're trying to open up like a worm gate. Not a wormhole, but a worm gate, which sounds kind of grosser, but whatever. Looks pretty cool. So shipping isn't too bad. I mean, that all things considered, right? And what is it? $25 for one copy of the base game. $25, $45, and you get the Crown of Ashes. You get it all. Not too shabby at all. For anything sub 50 for a card game, I'm suddenly interested in. It's once it gets above $50, I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend that much on a card game. Moving on, we have Heiki Strike Alternative. This is from Japanime Games. They make a ton of games. This is the first one I think I've seen on GameFound, and it has only 51 backers. I didn't even know this was this almost released to no fanfare as far as I can tell, at least to me. So there are 3,000. They have 14 days left, so they definitely need some more funding here. They normally fund pretty well, but they're normally on Kickstarter. And I've seen this more and more. I think a lot of smaller companies are going to GameFound hoping for less competition, and I don't think it's actually helping them really escape the Kickstarter craze that is everything else. And we're just following some big campaigns from Come On, a big campaign from really all the Masters of the Universe stuff was really big. We have like Voidfall that I'm going to be showing you in just a minute, over 1 million right now. We have Lords of Ragnarok coming up again. I'll show that to you. So there's a lot in going on right now, and so you really need to bust your butt when it comes to getting the word out on your game. I think the art style here looks fantastic, by the way. I really like the anime art. I think that's very cool. I like that they kind of show you the playing field, and so you can kind of see it's a little lane based, and you can see the different areas. This reminds me, I played a Star Wars trading card game in the early aughts that was like you had in space and then in land and then like characters. And so, and you could like pilot, you could put a pilot onto a ship, stuff like that, but you had to win 2 of the 3 zones. So you could just like disregard 2 and put all of it. It was kind of interesting. And anytime I see stuff like this, it reminds me of that and gets me kind of excited. I want to go play that Star Wars game again. This maybe scratches a similar itch. You deploy, you supply, you order, you research. It looks neat. It looks like a decent game. And I think it should be doing better than it is, for sure. I think they could show it off better. I think Japanime Games always struggles to kind of make their campaign look super appealing, but definitely interested in seeing if they can make it. I hope they can. Okay, moving on. We have Keep the Heroes Out. This is probably my most likely back, actually. Just because I think my kids would have a lot of fun with it. It's cooperative, it's asymmetric, they don't have text on the cards, so even your smaller children can play. I think that's awesome, and against co-op so you can help them out. I love that the skeletons act different than the imps, and act different than the ratkin, that acts different than the slimes and the lizard folk. They've added the poltergeist since I've covered this last time. They do have Cthulhu, my son would love that. It looks like an old like Legend of Zelda game on like your Game Boy kind of style, which I really dig. I think it looks nice. It really does. It's not too expensive, $50, and you get it plus all the stretch goals. This is probably one you'll see me next time I cover it. I'll probably have it backed. I'm slacking off. But I think I need to probably get this one. This one looks like I could play it with my kids and have a lot of fun with it myself, which anytime they're having fun and I'm having fun is a good thing. Voidfall, final week, 3 days ago, 1.3 million, 9,100 plus backers. My goodness, this is your Euro heavy focused, no random anything. This is all deterministic. It's a puzzle space 4X game. If you wanted a ton of mechanics, a ton of components, longer playing time, lots of strategy, lots of thinking, lots of figuring out what to do, building your own engine, not really worrying about the other players. And I'm not saying this as a bad thing. This is what people want. It's not what I want, but this is what a lot of people really, really enjoy. This is for them. It has all of that and a pretty cool theme and some great art as well. I think it's a bad UI, but really great art. And so that's really, really cool. And again, if you want a player board where there's like 16 mechanics just on this thing, this might be a game for you. There's a lot here. It's very meaty, very chunky. You can spend a lot of time in this game. I can only imagine. The minis are big, by the way. Again, 43 millimeter. The smallest one they have is 25, which is probably around, no, 32 is probably around board game standard, right? So these are all board. Everything above this, all of these are larger. These are big. These are chunky. And I dig it. I love 40 millimeter. To me is like the ideal in my mind when it comes to size, storage, paintability, quality, all of those things. I like 40 millimeters. So anything around there, I think is good. You can get metal tokens. You can pimp this thing. You can get all the sleeves you want from Paladin. They've unlocked stretch goals. Go ahead and check it out. Everybody's digging it. And I think that's super cool. And I hope everybody gets a great game. I will be opting out of it just because I'm not the target market for it. But I really hope people get a great game. I, however, really enjoyed Fractal. They actually sent me a copy. I played it. I enjoyed it. It's a much tamer campaign. It's a much calmer campaign. There's not really a lot of stretch goals or anything. Actually, there's no they're not doing stretch goals. Everything is on the table right now. Look at this. $93 and you get the core experience. You can add, and they even tried to limit it, so it's you only get that, right? And then it's okay, if you want narrative, you can add narrative. If you want solo, you can add solo. The pros and cons to that, I've seen people upset that it's an added cost. I also think they could have just come in with $120, like most companies do, and then included that. 120 is not unreasonable here. How much is Voidfall? What is Voidfall here? Standard box is 87. The Galactic box with the 80 fleet miniatures where Voidfall has 96. So this is kind of comparable. 157. So it's a cheaper price. You're just piecemealing what you want in it. So that's kind of my point there. But it's the plus VAT that I think hurts a lot of people, but it's hurting a lot of people everywhere. Anyway, it looks really, really nice. I quite enjoyed it. One of the best gaming moments of the year. If you have not seen my review, I will briefly tell you about it. So essentially, my son and I were fighting over he was fighting over a system. I would have just let him have it. But instead, I saw there was an action card that allowed me to essentially delete a whole sector of space and every unit on it, just gone, right? And so I was like, okay, maybe he hasn't noticed it yet. So I egged him on a little bit, right? And he put 80% of his forces in there. And then instead of fighting, I was like, oh, and here's my action. Boop. And then just removed all of it. And he jumps up literally from the table and yells, "You just killed an entire species," quoting Ender's Game. We really like that movie here. I really enjoyed the book. I don't think he's read it, but he should. But it's that quote at the end where it's like, "Oh my gosh, I killed an entire species." It was hilarious. It was so funny. I'll remember that moment forever. And this game got it to me. So very cool story-driven thing. Different scenarios, secret objectives, game modules based off of who won. You get like I said, you get the narrative stuff. They have the solo thing. I can't comment on that. There's some reviews. Some say it's aggressive. I think some have said it's fine. So I don't know which it is. Or you could just get the plain 4X thing. Very streamlined, a lot less mechanics. I quite enjoyed it. If you're like me and you like the games that are normally here, sorry, we're showing off the house next week. And so I need to depersonalize. And that means a few less board games. Anyway, then Fractal is definitely the one for you. If you're like apparently everybody else, Voidfall is probably your thing. Like I said, I tend to go towards this underdog even before I know it's an underdog. Dungeons of Draggmar has some of the coolest art you're going to see today. This is killer art. I love this stuff. The only thing that is comparable to that, in my opinion, is Into the AM. They have cool art as well. I dig them. Get link down below to all those. But no, seriously, Dungeons of Draggmar. If I can find the freaking tab, I have a ton. I apologize. Great looking art. I really like it. They got the standees, cubes, screens, skill cubes, tokens, a map, a lot of cards. It's all card based, my understanding. If you want to know how to play it, this won't really tell you. This, I'm hoping, will tell you. So you're probably going to want to watch that. It looks great. Even the box art. I have nothing on my shelf normally. Sorry again about that. That looks anything like this. This looks fantastic. I love the art on this. I really, really do. And again, another cheaper one. $39. You get the full game. $40. It's yours. This whole standee card thing, I'm digging lately. I love the cheaper prices. I really do. Better than $180 for some 3D terrain that you don't need. Next up, One Deck Galaxy. This is kind of the One Deck Dungeon. If you've seen that, thousands of people did. This is One Deck Galaxy. There are 8 hours to go. I don't know if I will post this in time. I might not. If so, I apologize. But essentially, you get a deck. You go through different scenarios. They have a lot of actually interesting kind of gameplay there. You're rolling dice and essentially assigning them to do different things. And like there's a lot you can do, and the scenarios are different. You got different adversaries that you're kind of fighting against the entire time, which is cool. They did a really cool thing where they did reverse stretch goals leading up to funding, which that was cool. Like you're rematerializing the game, and then you did stuff like, oh, hyper violet cards. Oh no, sorry, you humans can only see that. Okay, normal ink cards. Like I thought this whole thing was smart, very cool, and then of course stretch goals too. But yeah, very cool. And again, $45, right at that limit for me. For a card game, but $45. You get a cool little sci-fi dungeon builder in a very small package. I mean, this box is like that. Very cool. Next up, we have Dungeon Crusade reprint. I showed this off last time. From what I hear, if you want a humongous, deep, complex, you're going to play it for the entire weekend RPG, dungeon crawler, this is your game. They don't make a lot of those. This is one, I think you would like. It's made by, I think, just one guy. He seems very nice. He's super active. But of course, with just one guy, that means he's doing a whole lot of stuff. So expect maybe some delays, expect some, bumps along the way. I think this is his second rodeo, and it looks super, super meaty. 180 to 600 minutes. So there you go. All right, next we have Zerywia. You guys have never corrected me on how I pronounce that. I have no idea what I'm saying. This is their 5e RPG. They are almost funded on this. They still have 21 days to go. The art is beautiful here. The world is fascinating. It's all Slavic legend kind of stuff, which is super cool. I really, really dig it. I love the style of it. Even those dice, I think, look fantastic. I don't know anything about necessarily any kind of new game mechanics on top of 5e. I don't know what kind of layer it is, but you do get a lot of items. You do get the, kind of the theme, and you're in this new world, which at the end of the day is kind of the main point. I would get it just for the books. This looks fantastic. Fantastic. I love RPG books. Looks great. There's so much cool stuff going on here, in my opinion. You can make some freaking cool characters. Hey, look, there I am. Look at me go. I didn't know they put that there. That's funny. Yeah, it's in there somewhere. I don't know. It's weird seeing yourself sometimes. They do also offer the board game. There's only 150 copies. It's in the add-on, so you have to pledge here and then go. And it looks like 17 people probably just wanted the board game, in which case you can totally get that too. Board game looks nice as well. Moving on, Fool's Gold, Into the Bellowing Wilds. 529,000. For a few reasons, I feel. Again, I think any kind of cartoony RPG art style, I feel, is doing quite well. It just in my opinion, I think it is. It has a lot of stuff, as you can see. So you get all these kind of dice and these minis and these books and these, you get a ton of stuff here, which I think is very cool. They definitely, are putting some effort into it. That mask is apparently very important. But I think people are really liking the RPG scene right now, but in new worlds and new fascinating things where they can experience something new. So they're not fighting a beholder for the, 15th time, or, whatever you might be doing, or rats, I guess, or whatever. You're not fighting rats in here. And if you are, they're crazy cartoon mutant rats. Look at this. Look at Sips here. I freaking love it. Oh, the deranged monkey. Like, I think they look so cool. I really dig the style of everything here. It also has this guy, which is bigger than a small dog. It is huge, 12 inches tall, true scale Terraskew mini. So yeah, it's big. So if you want a big mini, you can pay $120 for it. It's a big mini. That's all I'm saying. That's a big boy. So there's that too, I suppose. Next up, Skinny Minis 2. Showed you this last time. Very cool standees. These, again, I think clearly better than Meeples. They just look better. They help the theme go more. They still feel good. They're still chunky. You can see kind of how thick they are here. So they feel nice. They got that organic glass going on with them. They're easily storable. A huge variety. And again, it just puts the art on like front and center. I love the custom shapes. I love how big they can get. Very, very cool. And you get a ton. Ooh, wolf. You get a ton of minis here. As you can see, huge amount. So yeah, very, very cool. Very cool stuff. I really dig it. And then they have like the whole 1.0 one as well. So a lot of minis here. If you're into D&D, if you just want to start using minis instead of standees instead of minis and a lot of other board games to either reduce storage or to set up time or whatever it might be, this is definitely, I think, your go-to here. It's what I would recommend. Next up, we have Adventures and Monsters Plastic Miniatures. This is still only $58,000. That being said, I think the last 2 days will definitely be a big one here. But again, they were asking $92,000. That's quite a bit. That being said, 108 pre-assembled minis for $70. That's a good deal. So if you're wanting minis instead of standees, this is what I would recommend. They look like they have great poses. They look like they're very smartly sculpted. I really like these. A lot more than like the little Blacklist miniature fantasy line. These look much better quality, in my opinion. And you still get, the copies when you would need it. So if you need 5 Goblin Archers, you get 5 Goblin Archers or Gnolls or, whatever it might be. So very cool to see all the stuff that they have going on here. And again, it's just an insane value, in my opinion. I think that's huge. Next up, we have Fantasy Busts and Miniature STL files. 12 days ago, 13,000 raised. Got a whole bunch. There's a lot of and these busts are like half a person. But as you can see, like very necromancerous. Necromancerous? A lot of Conan-esque minis. A lot of Diablo-like minis. These monsters, by the way, super cool. Cool Cerberus. They got a whole bunch here. This is all 3D print, so if you're a 3D printer, go ahead and click on that. Now, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the board game, November 2022. So next year on Kickstarter, Archon Studios are just doing a Heroes of Might and Magic 3. This is going to be huge. Fantastic video game series, a great IP. Definitely, again, going for that kind of old school, I have fond memories of this game style thing. But oh man, it's gonna be cool, right? Heroes of Might and Magic already played kind of like a board game, so I think they'll be able to really capture it very well as an actual board game. I'm sure it's gonna have minis with Archon. It'll have very good minis. Super excited about that. It's going to be really, really cool. And I'm excited. So hopefully I can show this off to you guys. Whenever they have something available to show, it'll probably be next year. Stay tuned for that. If you're wanting to wait for that, you can subscribe to the channel for 9, 10, 11 months, and then I'll show you this, I guess. Again, very early, but I wanted to let you guys know, because now we're done with what's available and we're going towards what's coming up. In this case, very far in advance. I do have a whole bunch of other games I've not shown you that are coming up sooner, but I'll wait at least until the next video for that. So stay tuned. I do these news videos all the time. You guys know that. Almost weekly. Okay, Senjutsu Battle for Japan. 6,500 people signed up. I have a copy. It arrived today. I will play this. I will let you guys know. You'll get a review. Stay tuned. I'll do it as fast as I can. I've been churning out reviews, so hopefully you can stay tuned a little bit and do that. That being said, follow the link below to get the free ninja add-on. You obviously want that because it's a freaking ninja. And it's a really cool kind of he's like spinning the weapon there, which I think is awesome. That's super cool. It's a card game with miniature positioning. is kind of my understanding. They all have a facing. You see the little triangle there. So that's all I know, though. I haven't read the rulebook yet. I'll let you guys know, though. I'll let you know. Next up, Too Many Bones Unbreakable, coming out on 4 days, 8 hours, 31 seconds, or minutes, and 39 seconds. So this is coming out soon. I know a lot of people like this. I went ahead and looked into Too Many Bones, and I think it's a little bit too abstract for my taste, but the gameplay looks nice. It really does. I don't like the small battle board. I looked at some of the like player builds you could do, and I think it's interesting, but I didn't feel like mechanically in the setting that the game is at that I would feel a lot of it for me. That being said, I might just be judging the game wrong. So I don't know. I'm going to look at Unbreakable and see what they have on offer, and I might join the other 19,700 people. The other thing I had an issue with was just how much you get. I didn't feel like there was a lot of stuff. Like it almost seemed like the Apple to be like there was like a very few amount of components, but a high price. But then $10 flat shipping. Well, the shipping's obviously included in the profit margin, obviously. So looks quality, looks nice, quality product that people enjoy. Looked a little pricey to me, looked a little blah to me, but we will see. We will see. I will see, I guess, maybe. It's by Chip Theory Games. Very well-known company. Does very good for themselves. All right, next up we have Lords of Ragnarok by Awakened Realms. This is going to be huge, of course. Over 1 million, over 2 million, I'm sure. 6 days, 8 hours. So just in less than a week's time, this is going to be a big thing. This is like the spiritual successor, not necessarily a direct sequel to their last game. So Lords of Hellas. This is Lords of Ragnarok, and it's close, but not quite. My understanding. That being said, the minis look super cool. E-Star, the company they work to manufacture these, has gotten better and better throughout the years. They still simplify the minis a lot more than I would like. Like I look at this kind of stuff and I'm like, I'm doubtful because of E-Star, not because of Awakened Realms, because of E-Star. I don't like them as a company. I think they are not a good manufacturer, and I would never push any company to make minis with them. And they're pricey too, so I don't know why Awakened Realms uses them, but whatever. The design though, right? So that's just detail. The sculpt design wise though, they look super cool. I'm loving the texture that they have here. It's like very deep grooves, which I really like, or this like smoke stuff coming out. It looks really cool. They're designed very well, and I really dig the kind of techno look of everything. Really dig it. Again, super unique. Which is super cool. So, I did not get a copy. I don't blame them. Though, that being said, this is probably the game I would like from them if I was to like one. So, there's that. It's kind of a dudes on a map kind of game, which is awesome. Oh, look right there. Innovative dudes on a map board game. Yeah, see, there you go. And I love Norse mythology and I love sci-fi. So, I like everything. This is pretty much saying epic battles, hunt monsters. I love all of that. I will probably be backing this one. I don't know if I'll go all in, but I think I will because I do want to enjoy a game from Awakened Realms. I almost got Lords of Hellas, but the minis were super tiny. It depends on what the size of minis are here. There's a few things I need to go check. But certainly interested for sure. So I'll let you guys know. Sorry, I can't, but I haven't played it. The Gatherer's Tiny Kingdoms tabletop role-playing game. I wanted to mention this. It comes out in 9 days. I know I only cover so many RPGs because this one looks super cute. They're about 2 inches tall. That's why it's called Tiny Kingdoms. So you have to watch out for the giants, which are like the people. Like it had this whole like video thing, which was super cute, talking about. So they got like buttons. So they're like you're crafting gear and stuff like that, and flying bats and chasing insects and whatnot, which it just sounds super cool. I dig it. I think that's awesome. So yeah, looks cool. I dig it. It's by Half Monster Games. My kids would certainly love it. Playtime 3 hours. I don't know if it's 5e. He doesn't mention 5e anywhere, so I don't know, but that's coming up. Next up, we have Harakiri Blades of Honor. I'll have a details video for you in just a few days, so stay tuned for that, about exploration and the map, and pretty much the entire first half of the game, the first phase. I'll let you guys know about that. Feel free to click the Remind Me button so you get the free Sun Wukong mini from Journey to the West. I think that's awesome. Super cool to have that. That's going to be, I guess, a tease for a whole expansion where there's going to be some Chinese mythos and all that kind of stuff. Sounds super cool. I have since seen a lot more of the game, and I'm excited to tell you guys more about it. It looks like it's going to be a good one. It looks like I'm going to like it more than The Witcher, because I feel like there's just more to it that I like, and just more to it, to be honest. So that's really cool. I think I know I'm going to like it more than Masters of the Universe that I reviewed from Archon. This is going to be a big one. It's going to be good. I'm excited for it. Additionally, there's going to be a giveaway in that details video. I'll be mentioning a giveaway. You'll have to watch the video to get it. I'll let you guys know. Again, just a few days. Stay tuned on that. Resident Evil, the board game. This is coming out October 26th, so again, very soon. I have played a little bit of this game. I need to play more of it. I have already unboxed it. Again, link down below. I will be reviewing it very shortly, in time for the Kickstarter, for sure. Next up, Dice Throne Marvel. What's more to say? Dice Throne is very popular. It looks very cool. I'm interested in it. If I want to jump into it, I may as well get some superheroes out of it, so I'm down with that. It could be DC. I would like it more then. I'm okay with Marvel, though, so I'll probably jump in on this one. So just FYI, something I'm looking into. Aldarra Reborn. This is interesting because this is from a company that was doing minis. In fact, Arcane Minis. They were doing STLs. They've made a board game on it. They are very big into airships. It's very cool. This is a fast-paced game of airships, war, and exploration. Defeat rebel factions in a rush to control the lost nation of Aldarra. Sounds good to me. Plus, you get a free STL. So I don't know if they're going to have all STLs. If they have the ability for me to get the game and print my own minis, that would be great, especially if it's cheaper. And they offer storage. So I want to store them. But otherwise, I think that's super cool. That being said, you can get this through this link here. So be on the lookout for that. Next up, Legacy of Thracks Awakening. I've shown this off quite a few times. Looks very cool, in my opinion. The one thing I'm not too concerned about is the semi-co-op and the 6 game modes. It seems like a lot of game modes are all very good, and I'm not a big fan of semi-co-op for my group. However, the art style, I think, is fantastic. Moving on, we have Enchanters Darklands. You can pre-order this still, $30. Get a whole bunch of new stuff. Looks super cool. I still need to try out Enchanters. I think I would like it. I really dig the art style. I like card games, but I haven't yet. But if you want more, it's on pre-order. Next up, Total War Rome, the board game. I have some new information for you. You might like it, you might not. There is no minis. It's all card-based. It is base game. There is no skirmish. Base game, you do this thing where you draw a random card, you roll some dice to attack each other, and it's that quick thing. It's kind of like clicking the auto-resolve button in the video game at the high level, because the high level is that empire building, kind of map-spanning thing. They have an expansion where you can then play these skirmish games, these kind of bigger ones. You could do it for every battle, you probably won't, where you get to actually move your cards / units around and then roll dice and do that kind of stuff. And it's the same kind of like this counters this and that counters this and this counters this and let's do this. And, that sort of gameplay that the Total War franchise, I think, is known for. But just as an FYI, cards are units. So no minis or anything like that. And you won't get the skirmish game without an expansion. Hopefully that means the base game is cheaper, but I guess we will see. You'll do anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes in that skirmish to kind of play through it. So you'll probably do it a few times each time you play, I would imagine at least. Okay, moving on. Sea of Legends, Vengeance of the Empires. This is the expansion, but I don't know if it's a standalone expansion. I think it's just an expansion, but I guess we'll see to Sea of Legends. My understanding is the app is in a lot better space now, so if you were concerned about that, or if you didn't like that to begin with, it should be better now for Sea of Legends. So if you're interested in jumping in, this is probably the time to do it. Always better than the 1.0. Next up, Axon Protocol. This is not the game I will be playing because it looks like this. However, everything else about it besides the board, I think, looks great. You essentially play this, it's this cyberpunk kind of style game where you're, going and hacking into things and stealing information and working with big corporations and all that kind of stuff. The art on the cards looks fantastic. I love this. This looks super cool. I like pretty much everything about this. Love it. And they all look like this. The art style looks great on the cards. I think the board looks a little boring to me. Next up, we have Order of Cthulhu. If you wanted to see Cthulhu in Egyptian times, in Arabian times, in Norse times, in the Conquistadors time. Like, he's like throughout the timeline, Cthulhu's. Super cool. I think it's very unique. This is a miniatures thing, so it's for painters and collectors. Looks very cool though. Next up, we have Quantum Shock. This game is something I'm actually highly interested in. It's sci-fi horror. I like both of those. Control time, space, matter, reality while developing your quantum skills. And it's got miniatures. It's a mature-based game. Looks very interesting indeed. I'm excited. I want to learn more about this. So Quantum Shock, I'll keep a lookout on it for you guys. Next up, Earth Under Siege Flashpoint. I've heard more about this game, and it, again, looks super cool. It looks like everything I wanted out of Reichbusters, but done right. If that makes any sense. I like the noise mechanic. It's actually distance-based, which is super cool. So essentially, if you throw a grenade, you might check to see if there's a patrol, within 3 spaces. Whereas if you're just, shooting a gun, it's 1 space away or something like that. So it's distance-based, which I thought was super cool. And it's not one thing where like you're laying a token down and you leave it. Like, they'll come investigate that. So then you got to deal with it. But you can deal with it because they only turn into like an actual patrol if they start their turn seeing you. So essentially, once they see you, you can still get rid of them. But you get stuff like you can throw up fake walls so they don't see you as you're busy doing stuff in hallways and all sorts of cool stuff. Looks really cool, sounds really cool. I really dig it. So excited to see more about that, I guess. So all I'm saying there. Next up, we have Free Arcadia. I showed this off last time. I want to give them some love. It's essentially kind of like a Forest of Radgost, but wild, wacky, and crazy. From anything from alien blasters to saw blade, guns to fighting harlots to fighting vampires to ancients to all sorts of craziness. It's kind of a whodunit mystery game where you're going around the map and doing different events and experiencing different things. And you can kind of do that as many times as you want. Looks kind of interesting. And finally, Mythwind was canceled at around 200%, which I will be doing a why you failed on this, because I think it'll be worth talking about, as I think it's important. So I will be showing that off. So just as an FYI. And finally, I got 2 more to show you. First is Malhya, Land of Legends. I showed this off to you in like 2019. So I do a video at the first weekend of December every year where I tell you guys every single game I know that's coming out in the future. Hopefully next year it could be farther, like this one. It has gone through a big change. It looks very different. As you can see, if you remember the old one, this definitely looks different, but I was already excited about the first one. This one looks pretty unique as well. So let's dive into a little bit here. I hope to find out some more information. It's by Le Boîte de Jeu Games, I think, or something like that. I'm sure I butchered that wrong. They did a Clash of Rage, for instance. They did Daimyo. As you can see, this has gems. It's got dice. It's got, it looks like resources of some kind. Very interesting kind of player board here. And I don't know how it plays or anything like that. Here's kind of a scene of the game. I love the cliffs and the verticality of that. Or even just how the walls look. I think that looking great. And that red almost kind of pops out more than it needs to be almost. But very, very good looking board already as a prototype, I feel. And again, the minis. So you can see there's minis going on there. They actually make pretty good minis. So excited to find out more about that. They are at Essen apparently. And also, finally, Night Games is coming out with Escape from Arkham Asylum on October 26th. We now have a date. It's coming very soon. That is a fantastic Bane. I want that Bane. I have a feeling I'm going to give Night Games quite a bit of money. I don't know if they're doing prototypes or previews or anything like that. I've not heard of it from anybody, so let me know. I obviously haven't been contacted or told anything. October 26th is pretty soon, so I'm wondering if they're doing that or not, which would be unfortunate if they're not. I think they definitely need to have people play the game and let you guys know how it plays. Just because it looks pretty and has Batman on it doesn't mean it should sell. It should sell because it's a great game with Batman on it. So anyway, that's October 26th. I'll definitely be there in the campaign. I'll let you guys know what I think about it once it shows up in my next news video, I'm sure. And with that, guys, that is everything. That is a ton. I am exhausted. I'm going to go get a drink of water. Before you leave, remember these shirts are awesome and I highly recommend them. There is a link down below. Helps me out, helps the channel out a little bit. You get some freaking cool shirts when all said and done, and great quality shirts too. So be able to check out INTOTHEAM, they're the sponsor of this video, and I greatly appreciate that. If not, though, that's fine too. Just a like on the video helps me out a lot. Again, let me know if I missed anything or if you're excited about anything so I know what to cover in my next video, because these videos are for you guys and I want them to be helpful and interesting to you. With that, have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Bye.